King is back, baby. I'm on gas. No breaks with it. He's fat.
You there, sitting at home, acknowledge me.
This is the first ever take two we've ever done.
It is.
This is
and
weird.
that's in there. That's in the pod.
Show that I'm going to be on. So.
That's in the pod.
Oh, we're doing this?
Yeah,
See,
that's in
he
the
hit us
pod.
early. Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing? This is another episode, a weird episode of the Turnbuckle Weekly Podcast. Apparently, I am Casey, your host, and with me is my tag team partner, my hetero life mate, and now a newly licensed, I say wrestler, he says trainee. He just needs to let me, celebrate that he's making his dreams come true. We have Leon. How you doing today, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Dude, I'm pretty good. And I'm going to tell you why I'm pretty good. We heard him talking just now, so you kind of like ruined it for
That's
everyone.
okay.
But I also posted on Facebook we were doing this. Guys, it is a few times, especially as a podcaster, that you get to talk to somebody that people view as like an OG, as like a legend in something. It's very rare you get to do that. We've done that three times. Now, I say 3 times. We're completing my Mount Rushmore for the World Wrestling Alliance today. I'm not even going to...
I'm going to cut you off because what I'm about to say is way better than that garbage you were just spilling. We have now completed, in my opinion, the founding forefathers of the WWA.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. That's why they're my Mount Rushmore.
But you need to cut a long story short and make it good. And I just called them the forefathers, which is way better than that crap you were just talking about.
See, the guy gets a license. He takes a couple bumps, and it goes to his head. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Jordan Whittaker with us. How you doing today, man?
That might have been the best intro I think I've ever heard from myself. I love the founding fathers or the forefathers.
That's right.
Clever.
That's how it goes.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Well, no, I mean, and that's not even blowing smoke. Like, legitimately, I sat down today. I have every single Monday off, so usually we try to record on a Monday or Tuesday, and either way it goes on Monday. Whoever the guest is, I immediately sit down and I consume as much of them as is out there. And there's not enough time to get to just half of what you've done for just the WWA. We're not even talking about anywhere else you may have wrestled, or we're talking just, with Chris and Ray and Dakota and all those guys. There wasn't enough time in the day today for me to cover all of that. I literally had to cover one half and then the other because, it's just the foundation of that company, what I was told coming in, the foundation of that company was Chris, Ray, Alexander Knight, yourself, Dakota France. That's what the
it's like a holy trinity, but with 6 people.
Yeah, it's 2 trinities all in one go, and you guys are all. What else is fun about it is you're all different. Like me and my friends, when we started doing our backyard stuff, we were all the same dude. We all wanted to be Mick Foley or Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was always just those 2 things. A bunch of fat, ugly kids. We figured the best we could do was Mick Foley, maybe even Stone Cold, even though Stone Cold was kind of cut at the time. But
Ain't nothing wrong with Mick Foley. Hell no. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Especially growing up.
Mick is my dude.
Something about us, we were all backyard guys. When you talked about Chris, Ray, me, Dakota, and Alexander Knight, of course. Starting off in the backyard, everybody in the backyard was, which I'm sure you guys talked about this when you talked with Chris and Ray and stuff, but it really was like a land of the misfit toys. We were all from different backgrounds. We all, had different home lives for sure, whether it just be Ray likes hip hop and, I like rock and roll and, this type of stuff. But the one common thing was wrestling. Wrestling was there, and it was something we all loved, and it didn't matter. And it brought us all together, So.
And it's beautiful that something just as simple as pro wrestling does it. Like me and Leon here, we could not be more different as people. I'm a foul-mouthed, fat, bald atheist. Leon here is a fairly well put together dude, very religious, very strong in his faith. We could not be more opposite as people, yet wrestling is a language that we both were able to speak to one another. And it happened like the movie Step Brothers. It just came up and I was like, you like wrestling? And he was like, I love wrestling. I was like, favorite wrestler? And then we start going back and forth and I was like, I think we're friends now. And that's just what did it.
That's what makes wrestling so beautiful, man. It's for literally everybody. It's for all, ethnicities, all, types of backgrounds. It makes it really cool, man.
And, and wrestling's one of those things where, like, if somebody goes, hey, do you like wrestling? And they're like, no, I think wrestling's stupid. You can call their bluff immediately because you can tell just by looking at somebody if they like pro wrestling or not. Because like you give that big fat bald like wrestling nerd vibe as soon as I saw you.
Sorry, brother.
I was like, so he left out a detail of that story. So I used to be his boss and I trained him when he started.
Oh, jeez.
And so we were up front one night and we were talking about something and I made like a wrestling joke or something. And he was like, I used to wrestle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, I wrestled for a couple of years. Well, see, then about a year and a half later, I found out who trained him and how the real story went. And I was like, dude, you just got in there, got hepatitis, and bumped around a little bit. That's all you did.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
Would you want to name drop exactly where you were trained?
Root Scoop.
Yeah, no, fuck him. He's dead. I got trained by Bobby Wilson.
Oh, good Lord.
Look.
Root Scoop.
There's some stories there, my gosh. Shoot.
This is what had happened. So I was 18 years old. I was about to have a kid. And I'm just sitting there one day. I'm also a drug addict at the time. Now I've been in recovery as long as my son's been alive, 12 years now, 13 in January, roughly.
Yeah, congratulations, man. Just congratulations.
No. Now,
goes.
I'm only California sober, so some people think it's tainted because I quit doing heroin and now I just smoke pot and I have a drink like twice a year. But I was on drugs and I was real, just bored all the time because like I'm high all the time. I got all this time to fill, and I was making money illegally, and I had a lot of time to fill. And then heroin's fun, but it's not as fun as wrestling. So I was just talking with a friend of mine about wanting to be a wrestler, and he was like, Bobby Wilson's got a ring in the furniture store. And I was like, no, he doesn't. And they were like, he does. You should go down there and check it out. And I did. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I just remember all the stories I had heard about, the stuff like this being dirty and dingy and gross. And so I just thought what I was looking at was normal. Chris and Ray and that operation there has completely changed my mindset about what at least the indies are, or like the real low indies, you know what I mean? Like
the mud shows.
No, Chris doesn't put on mud shows. You know what I mean? Like I call him the high end of the mid-tier indies. Like he's not a Ring of Honor, he's not a PWG, but he's what's feeding these companies. I mean, Myron Reed, come on. Myron Reed's all over
Speaking of
those.
mud shows, there's some drama right now on Facebook that I don't know if you've seen or not, involving one Mr. Former, not going to say his name, but we'll get into that later on.
I shared it actually. We'll talk about it later.
Okay, good.
But yeah, so I went down there. I paid Bobby Wilson a bunch of money for him to call me gay slurs and things like that because I couldn't do a bump right, and
told you not to go to the top rope.
Yes, and every time I would ask him, like I wanted to do an elbow for my finish, and I would just like, I knew kind of how to do it, but I didn't know how to do it, and I'm a big guy. I was 185 then, but that's still a big guy. And I was like, I just really want to drop this down on him, and he was like, why? That's my impression of Bobby. It's real high pitch. You don't need to do that. Why you need to do that? Whoop scoot. And that's how I heard him talking. And it's like I pictured him with two pistols in his hand, like Yosemite Sam going whoop scoot.
Those little cap guns.
I always remember he had a commercial where he would talk about his furniture store. He's like, I'm back breaking Bobby Wilson down here. He named the address and stuff like that. And
yes.
Honestly, I think I only met Bobby Wilson one time because all of it, like, social media is a toxic environment, really.
It's awful.
Didn't Jerry Lawler own a mattress store down the road from Bobby?
No.
Jerry Lawler had a mattress store in Owensboro.
Oh, I have no idea. But go ahead, Leon. Cut you off with furniture.
No, I mean, Lawler's definitely been around here and stuff like that. So, I mean, it would not surprise me if there was something like that. Hell.
No, I mean,
but nonetheless, I never really interacted with Bobby Wilson on any level. Like, I think I met him once, but it was like quick bypass and stuff. But everything was done, all the beef that I had with him was done through social media, which I hate.
Right.
In general, it was all just a bunch of people talking, and golly, and it's all just airing everything out online, which is
Yes, I don't like to take those shits, but I definitely like to see them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be the guy stirring the pot, but I do definitely get, especially when it comes to Chris. Like, I shared something he wrote today just because I plug WWA as much as possible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a company guy to a fault sometimes. Sometimes if you give me an opportunity, I will fly your flag until the wheels fall off, until something really, really bad happens. And then generally I'm like, I'm out the door. But so far, Chris and everybody's been very welcoming. And I'd shared something today and I had to delete it because I was like, I'm stirring the shit here. Because I was like, Chris is nothing if not outspoken and controversial. But he's also correct. And I go on this diatribe of why this company he's talking shit about is not great. And then I was like, oh no, I'm being a part of that system. I'm going to erase 90% of this message. And I just replaced it with, hey, we're interviewing Jordan Whittaker tonight. You guys come over and check it out. I was like, that's what we're going to do. We're going to fly the WWA flag without being an asshole. We'll let Chris be an asshole. He won't get in trouble. He's kind of the guy who runs everything. So he can talk as much shit as he wants. I'm just going to be like, yeah, from the back.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's, never hesitate to stand up for the WWA and stuff like that. Never hesitate to stand up for, what you believe in and supporting your friends. I don't get on social media no more. I don't know what you guys are referencing or anything, so I don't want to say too much in case, there's something big out there that I don't. He's just plugging the show in Madisonville by shitting on the other company. That's what he was doing.
And in return, one former said talent was crapping all over Chris Waddell's name in WWA at the same time.
It gets pretty rough when Chris gets going, but it's fun. It's fun to watch sometimes.
Like I've been waiting all afternoon to see Chris's response to this guy's post.
You won't. Listen, all I did one time was say something about that I enjoyed watching Myron Reed work, and Chris went on a 30-minute diatribe of why fuck Myron Reed. Which he ended with, but no heat with the kid. I was like, that was 28 minutes of heat, brother, but you're fine.
You just insulted
which
his
is where
lineage.
we're talking about Chris so much, which it kind of makes me feel like now I got to go into this. I've heard the beginning stories, but each time it's been a little bit different. So I kind of think of them like the first books of the Bible. They're stories all told about the same thing, but from different perspectives. So that's kind of what I want to hear is like your perspective on like how this thing got started. Everybody, like I said, it's been all generally the same, but everybody's got a little bit of different end. So just to start at the beginning of the story, how did you get involved running these shows, working on these shows with Chris and Ray and all these guys? Where did that start for you?
Well, it all started with I had an older brother named Travis. Him and Ray were actually friends. They were about the same age, with Ray's a couple years older than me. They were friends, and Ray was the first WWA guy that I met. And he came over, and it was, him and my brother were hanging out, and I found out that they had wrestling shows in their backyard. It was still trampoline days, backyard. But, it was pitched to me like, these are very professional, backyard shows. So they had an entranceway built and all this other stuff. So I was like, I got to get in on that because my brother Travis had hyped it up so much for me and stuff like that. So meeting Ray, I was like, okay, I want to see if I can get in on that wrestling stuff. So I took a glass picture of Sable that I had. It was like one of those old photos you can win at like a carnival or a fair or something like that. They always have like a picture of something off to the side. So I had a Sable picture that was like that I'd worn at a fair, I'm assuming. And it had a glass photo on it, and I decided like, hey, you're that wrestler guy, right? And he goes, yeah, and I just take the picture and smash it over my head, and he was, very receptive to it. He's like, yeah, you'd fit in great. So, it wasn't a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, I was getting invited down to the backyard days. And, they were wrestling on a trampoline still back then.
See, and that's...
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
The trampoline, it was what I started on down there, but it wasn't within, much more than, a year maybe. We had got our first wrestling ring down there, so... it wasn't too long that we were actually bumping on a real ring. So.
See, and that's what I was wondering is if you joined during the trampoline days, because we do a little trampoline thing now that we've started up, and it's been a huge hit right now we've got some matches coming up, and we got some new guys that are joining that I didn't tell Casey about. But that's one thing.
Hey, I hold the pen. I need to know who's on.
Oh, okay.
It,
Okay, I got you.
When I've got the book, I need to know who I'm booking, brother.
But no, and it's funny because, when a lot of people think about pro wrestling and you talk about some of the greats, of course, like the Waddells and you and Alexander, and then you go to people like the Hardys who all start out on a trampoline. They go, "You wrestle on a trampoline?" Yeah. Well, what do you want to do that for? Because it's fun. Well, isn't it fake? The only difference between wrestling, difference between wrestling on a trampoline and wrestling in a ring is what you're wrestling on and the pain level. Yeah. Like, it's storytelling either way.
I'll say it here. This might be some breaking news. It did hurt a lot less on the trampoline.
It did. But it's so fun. I love it so much. It's a blast.
See, I can't bump on the trampoline. I've tried to get on there with him and be like...
That's because you're too heavy.
Like, let me show you a couple things. And no, the heaviness has nothing to do with it. Why don't you go fuck yourself? But, like, I can't figure out how to bump on it. It's just weird. But I'll get on there and be like, all right, let me show you, like, a little bit of chain wrestling. Hey, what would you think about doing this? Let's translate it all into the ring.
Just flatline her real quick.
Let me show you this clean-ass flatliner I've been hitting. Let me show you this pile driver, how I'm not going to murder you with a pile driver. And, like, show them certain things like, this is how you don't kill someone doing a move. And, like, I'll do little things like that. And then I get in the ring the other day just because everybody's talking shit. Like, Alexander's in there. He's like, you're bumping. I'm not bumping. My bump card's full, buddy. I'm done. I'm done with bumping. And Munchie, he's doing the first class now. He's like, oh, you're getting here and bumping. And I'm like, no, I just keep hearing it. So last week I got pissed off in Litchfield and I just took all my shit off and got in the ring and I bumped. Munchie goes, tuck your chin. I said, I do this, bro. And then I just took the bump and I hit the ground. When I hit the mat, I went, huh. And I was like, this doesn't hurt as much as I remember, but my back fucking hurts, dude. Like, I was like, oh, God. Like, so that actually, it's really funny that when I told you off air that Alexander sent me the text, he said, ask him about the first time he met Ray. And so I'm assuming the Sable picture was what he wanted me to ask about.
Yeah, that was my thing. I barely said 2 words to Ray. And it was one of those things he said, like, we talked about the story in the past and stuff, but he's always said, like, oh yeah, well that's when I knew pretty much, like, okay, yeah, you'll fit in great, But there was also a little story where Ray, whenever he came over, I had made championship belts back in the day. Like, I grew up pretty broke, so I just made them out of cardboard.
Yeah, that's what me and my brother did. Cardboard and kitchen stuff, like Mama's colanders and stuff. Whatever we could find.
But see, the thing was, I was actually pretty decent at it. I had the shapes down and everything else. I used black towels, and they were like, I don't know, they were quite nice for some cardboard belts, you know what I mean? Nice. And Ray really liked them, and he put them over huge. And whenever he finally convinced me to come down to the backyard, he's like, well, definitely bring your belts. You can show my brother; he'll love them. And I was sitting there, and I didn't realize that they had like real leather belts and replica belts back in the day. But I get down there and I show these fucking cardboard belts, real proud of them. And then Chris takes one look at them and he goes, well, those are fucking stupid. And then Ray, who had hyped these up, goes, yeah, I told him not to bring them.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, wow, these guys are kind of assholes.
Look, dude.
And we're best friends, so.
Chris he's just so talented at busting balls. Like, I think it was either the first or second time we had him, because we got Chris the first time as kind of like we didn't think it was going to happen as a guest. Like, we thought we're really going to have to grind and climb this ladder.
It was so easy.
We did an interview with Ray, and then we messaged Chris, and then immediately got it. But in one of the parts, he asked us if we had went to a show, and it was literally the show before we started going. And we were like, no, we actually didn't start going until the next week. And he goes, all right, well, this has been real fun, guys. I'm getting the fuck off of here. We were like, hey, hold on a minute. But he's just people say what they want. Chris will shit on you, and it's funny, and it's just he's just being himself. He's a great dude, and I love that guy to death. He's very welcoming.
He's a hell of a talker too. Like he is. Yeah, he's got the silver tongue, that's for sure.
Oh, I think Leon watched one of his comeback promos like 14 times in a row.
No, let me tell you exactly what it was, because I can tell you where it was.
I know
Okay,
what it
last time
was.
we were in Livermore, okay, it was a show before Curtain Call, okay?
Yep.
And which Curtain Call was just Saturday. Wonderful show. If anybody didn't see it,
Amazing
you need
show.
to watch Hysteria. It was fantastic. There's some really awesome stuff in there. Some stuff really threw me for a loop, but that's besides the point.
Stuff that I'm glad I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I was
same.
surprised.
And that's with us even being in the locker room. We were not told of anything happening, whatever. But I was sitting there, and it was Chris's first promo back at CCW right after his injury, and he was talking about Game Time and how Game Time has been trying to run the show and stuff, and I just remember watching it, and I sent it to Casey and I sent it to Caleb, and I said, this is the best promo I've ever heard in my life. And they were like, yeah, it was pretty good. And I said, no, it was the best promo I've ever heard in my life. I watched it like 17 times and showed everybody at work and continued to watch it afterwards, because the thing about it is, there's a difference between being somebody who, yeah, they can talk into a mic, whatever. But when you can talk into a microphone after being gone for so long, and have somebody who, like me, I've never heard Chris talk other than, at Mad Mex's tribute. That was the only time that I'd ever heard him talk besides being on the show.
Yeah.
And to have him just ooze the charisma and just to really, like...
See, for me, I think that's where Chris is able to tell passion more than anything else.
It's the charisma of it.
Yes, and the wrestling moves and stuff like that, he can tell the story and stuff like that, but if you put a microphone in his hands, he can do all that and then more. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's that little extra bit that gets twinkled in there where it's like you buy in that he has a passion for it, and whatever he's saying, he believes what he's saying.
Yeah, and see, when he came back at Halloween Hell, I asked Terry, and she's a wonderful lady, love her to death, and we were sitting there talking.
Yeah, for sure.
We were sitting there talking, and I told her, I said, how does it feel to watch him be back doing what he loves? And she just started bawling. I mean, she just, started bawling, and she said, he'll die in that ring before he ever retires. And to see what I see in him now, I don't think he's missed a step in 9 months.
Now I could see CCW becoming like Tommy Rich.
So speaking about Terry, because I asked Chris and I've asked Ray, but you kind of growing up with them, being in the backyard, how was it having Terry there supporting you guys, wanting all of you all, because I'm sure that she treats all of you guys like you were her own, and there's no doubt about it. And Chris and then mentioned it at the Christmas party, she is a foundation of the WWA. So how was it growing up and being around Terry there all the time?
Well, see, here's the thing. Well, I have an interesting perspective. I know you talked about, like, Chris Ray. For the longest time, it would always be Chris Ray, and the third name would be Jordan. Anybody that talked about WWE, I'd always be the third name that was brought up, and I was even an honorary Waddell brother for a little bit. So people were, you couldn't talk about those two without talking about me. And I was there before Dakota and Alexander Knight, so I was one of the extra early founding fathers. So
right.
Terry got to see me grow up as well, because when I started wrestling back there, I was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
Now granted, it was trampoline days, but then we got the ring, and we had a few years with the ring before we got shut down, so that's a whole nother story. But no, as far as Terry being there, she was always the one to, like, anytime one of us would get busted open with a light tube or something, she could be the one stitching us up and giving us Band-Aids and stuff to help heal and whatnot. And then the whole time calling us dumbasses because, like, I can't believe y'all gonna keep doing this shit. So, like, it's like getting pickered out by my mom, as well, because she took care of all of us. She was like Mother Hen or whatever. she'd always support us and wanted us to keep doing it, but there was always that driving her nuts portion too, where you guys are going to kill me. You know? But no, I love Terry to death. She's helped me, from when I was 12 years old, starting off there, all the way to like I went through some stuff whenever I was older, like in my 20s and stuff like that. That Terry was a real big factor in that. So I love her to death. And I couldn't imagine the WWA being where it is now because she was so supportive and stuff.
Yeah, she's
without her, it ain't here likely.
Yeah. She's wonderful, man. Like, she has welcomed all three of us so wholeheartedly, if that makes sense. Like, the first time we ever worked a show, it was, how are you all? Glad to see you all. If y'all need anything, I'm here.
Yeah, thank y'all for supporting the Sons and helping us out. And my child, like we had to have my 12-year-old, who is I told you at the party, he is a WWA like super fan at this point. Even before we started working with him, he would be the guy who we would look at before we go to shows and be like, okay, like we weren't familiar with a couple guys and we were like, okay, we're not familiar with these guys, so what's up? And Sammy's already on it. I have to take him to the show and he has to sit inside because it's too cold at night. And I guess one of the guys, Falcon gave him a weapon that Ray had hit Ryan Ramsey with, and he gives it to her. Should they give it to him? And he's out there playing with it and everything and having a good time, and he's swinging it at the wrestlers like he's Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And one of the guys comes through the doors while I'm in there doing breakdown, and he's like, your kid's out there trying to like cane people with that piece of whatever it was that Ryan was beating.
Door trim or something.
Door trim, whatever Ryan brought for that bunkhouse match. He's out there trying to hit these guys with him. I go out there and Terry's out there with him, and he's in the hallway and he's done swung it at Chris and is talking shit to Chris, and then I turn around and said, what the fuck are you doing, man? And he's like what? He turns around, he's like, what? And I started telling him, I was like, are you swinging a piece of wood at people? And Terry goes, hey now, she goes, let him do what he wants. If these boys can't handle a little thin piece of wood being swung at them, what the fuck are they here for? I just died.
It was at that moment that you have to be like, yes ma'am, and then you have to walk away.
I said, yes ma'am. I said, all right, well Sam, you have fun. And I went through the doors. But
there's one thing that I've noticed about these shows, and Chris, we love you to death, but I hope that anybody realizes that Chris Waddell does not run these shows. Terry does, and that's just how it happens.
So which I want to get back on track a little bit here, because Leon said something that made this part pop into my head that I pulled today. He was talking about the way the company is now and how integral you are to that. I just want to go over I pulled up your stats thanks to Drake Jackson. I found out I didn't know who was responsible for statting, but Sugars let me know that it's Drake, and Drake's putting everybody's shit on.
Nice.
So if I get any
before you go too far, like Drake Jackson, huge shout out to that guy, man. Overall, just a great dude, and the work he does with everything online and stuff.
Oh man,
he is unmatched, my dude. So,
his
we just wanted to shout him outside.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. His highlight video at the Christmas party was, a masterclass of just filmmaking. I mean, like the way he put that together, it could have been a movie. But so correct me if I get any of this stuff wrong, and it's Drake's fault if I do, because according to Sugars, he's the one that puts this in. You are a former WWA Hardcore champion, an NWA Southern Tag Team champion, a Kentucky Classic champion, and a 6-time WWA champion. Is that about right, or am I missing something?
I believe it bumped up to 7 times, 7-time WWA champion. I don't know if it was left because me and Dakota France were tied for a long time at 7, so after most reigns.
Oh, okay. So we missed one.
I am also a former WWA Tag Team champion with Chris Waddell, actually.
Yeah, it shows that you're the NWA Southern Tag Champ with CCW as Bad Company. It specifically writes that out. Yeah, Drake, you missed one, you son of a bitch. That guy always makes me laugh.
Need some fact checking over there in the old Drake house.
Need to do something. I guess I'm gonna have to call him out later on Facebook when I read whatever hilarious shit he's written this time. He wrote something today. It was great. Dude's funny.
Oh God, and he's so clever with it too. It's like the most witty jokes too that you don't even really have to think about, but it's just funny as hell. Yeah.
It is, but so into talking about those titles, I actually watched, if I'm not wrong, was probably, I think it was a WWE Championship, and I think it's become so far my favorite match of yours I saw. But I wanted to just get your like where you were on this, what you remember about it. But you had a casket match with Josiah.
Oh yeah.
Josiah fascinates me. I've only seen him a handful of times live. But I love his character, and I love the whole, like, I love the spooky vibe. Every time I make a wrestler on a video game, that there's always like demonic imagery in one of them. He's always that kind of character, like the devil. He is Satan, and that's the character that I create. And he portrays that in the ring, so I was fascinated by it. But like watching your work in matches like that, like you're doing Undertaker shit, and you're not a little guy either. So it's like you're doing power stuff, you're doing high flying stuff. That match, I would show that to anybody who's about to get into a gimmick match where you're probably going to get hurt. Like, that's the match I would definitely want to show someone.
Something I've always had chemistry with Josiah, and here's a little fun fact for you. Out of everybody in the WWA, I have known Josiah the longest. I knew him before I knew Chris and Ray. We knew each other before either one of us wrestled. So, but then like he moved away, and then several years later he turned back up at a show doing a tryout, and I was like, holy shit, there he is. So I actually knew him for a lot longer. So that added that it's almost like a safety net, especially if you know the guy, like, and you know him well. You want them to do good, and where I had been wrestling longer, you know. I always wanted to give a little extra just because I was friends with the guy also, you know, so, and I wanted him to get a good impression of what was going to happen and stuff like that, you know. So him really, right about that time, he had really become his own, you know, like he didn't need help. He was doing stuff like he was a veteran and stuff. So it really was nice to see that transition from young, unsure Josiah to, you know, a ring general that he became. So yeah, the casket match itself, he had all the church out there with him, and getting to incorporate them in there, which you had Big Z, Lucas Adcock, and then I think Andrew Hunter was still there at the time, so we had fun incorporating them into it. And then the casket just became a toy that we were able to just play with for the match and stuff. So I don't know, it becomes a centerpiece. So. And I ended up losing that match, if I remember right. Yes.
I think you did lose that match. Yeah, if I remember correctly, you lost that one. I watched a lot of your shit today, man. Like so much of it.
Well, see, then the thing is, the son of a bitch poured gasoline. He strapped me in there to where I couldn't get out, and then poured gasoline over the casket afterwards. And here's the thing: all those fumes from the gas tank drip down inside because there's like a crack in between the two hatches on the casket.
Oh, right. No.
So it all dripped down in there. I just did a 15-20 minute match where we beat the hell out of each other because we always go that extra mile and stuff anytime me and Josiah worked. And so I'm in there winded, blown up, and then all of a sudden I'm breathing in gas fumes. I'm about to pass out. Teddy King was one of our top baby faces at that time. He runs out to make the save, chases off the church before they can set the casket on fire, and then cuts a promo while I'm sitting inside there. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, please open. I'm hitting the side of it.
Help!
Yeah, pretty much. I couldn't say nothing though. I made like a little pocket in my arm to try to breathe. Then finally he opened up the casket. I just dove out of there. It was like you ever see those movies where people come up out of the water last second? It's like,
yeah.
It's just like that because I thought I was about to pass out inside there.
It's one of those. Wasn't he just blown up when he got in there? He must have took a nap.
Yeah. I like the dedication to the kayfabe of being like, I can't breathe right now, but I'm supposed to be selling, so fuck air. It's just, which you actually, like, you've had a lot of stuff in your career that's kind of like that, where you're definitely not putting your safety first, which comes to a note. But I'm going to tell you all the truth. I'm getting kind of weird calling him Alexander. Thomas sent me a paragraph. He booked the whole show.
You have to read it.
So now I'm going to read it, but this note, it ties perfectly into the story. He also mentioned that you have the bloodiest match in RPW history with you and Jose Guerrero.
Yeah.
I got to know about that.
RPW was a wrestling company that was in Metropolis, Illinois.
Okay.
Pretty much right over the state line. It's only about an hour and a half from like Central City. We go up there, and this was like our second group show. Because see, me and Ray had wrestled there. Just me and Ray went up with no other WWE guys or anything like that. But me and Ray went and wrestled each other. And so we kind of got introduced to, like, it was one of our first indie shows that wasn't a WWA show. It was pretty much in a garage, and it was like an old steel shop and stuff.
Hell yeah.
So it's dirty, and
I love it.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of other people, like, they see, like, a lot of the WWA guys nowadays, they didn't see the garbage that is out there, getting booked at other shows and stuff.
I'm telling you.
There were some doozies back in the day. But RPW, they were one of the few people that would, I know they were kind of, what's called a mud show or whatever, but I got to give them credit because they were one of the few companies that were willing to book some backyard guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it gave it, whether it was kind of trashy or not, but it was still like an opportunity, and I was always appreciative of it. But anyway, we did a group thing going up there where the first week there was a big 5-on-5 match between WWA guys and RPW guys, and then the next time we go back, there was going to be another 5-on-5, and then somebody had to wrestle a guy named Jose Guerrero, who was actually one of the bookers at the time, and the promoter, Jojo Yamamoto Jr., wasn't going to be there that week, so he was also running the show. So they asked, all right, so who wants to wrestle Jose? And I was the most seasoned guy left because they had Chris and Ray and the other guys in the big 5-on-5 match. So I agreed to wrestle this guy who was known at the time for very much hardcore stuff. Everything was bloody. Everything was beating the shit out of you with frying pans as chairs and whatnot. So I was like, well, I'll do it. But I'll keep in mind, I'm like 18 at the time or 17 or something. And I'm really young and green. But I was like one of the most seasoned guys for the WWA, so it's like, oh man, I'm in here with this 30-year-old guy who's just going to beat the piss out of me. So, which, you live and learn, and, I don't want to go too inside baseball with the blood and stuff, but it didn't go as planned. It might have been a little deep. Got a really cool picture of it, though. If I could dig it out, if I can find it online, I'll send you a picture of it.
Oh, dude, yeah, because, that's a recurring theme I notice is you never did anything halfway. You set the floor of the Coliseum on fire. You're not exactly known for going halfway. Yeah, you got to tell me about that one, too. I've been told that one about 3 different times from about 4 different people. So I got to hear that story. What was going on there?
Oh man, and that's the thing. There's so many stories, especially from like the backyard earlier days. So this has been really fun because I don't usually get to talk about those as much.
Oh, dude, let's go.
The Coliseum one, that. Unfortunately, I hate that is all anybody remembers about that because me and Ray actually the match itself was one of my favorite matches, and it was like one of the only times in my career that I got to be a serious heel because I was a babyface for 85-90% of my career.
Yeah, long time.
So, and I was really excited about this, and I was with Ray, who's the best dance partner you can have in a situation like that, and we had a really great match, and unfortunately, again, going back to Greg Jackson, he cut it up to where we looked like $1 million. Like, it seemed like a little wonky on the actual final product, but it worked out to where it didn't look like we almost burnt down the Coliseum. But okay, so we go to do this spot where we light the table on fire. Problem is, I'm breathe the fire at it, it doesn't light. So I'm kind of panicking because it's like, well, shit, I missed it, so now I got to light it up with the sword. I ended up having to poke it with the sword to light it up. And my flaming liquid that I breathed the fireball with, I should have thrown it way farther away. I'll take full responsibility for it. So we go through, and unfortunately, when I set it on the side of the ring, it fell off where the fire was on the ground already from the table. So, and then our security guy, Danny Beasley, I love the guy to death. He comes by to kick it out of the way, but he accidentally steps on it, and it spreads the flaming liquid everywhere at that point. So, a lot of panic, and then. And I mean, what do? I'm sitting there thinking, I just killed this company. This is it. You know, we're going to burn down the building in Evansville, and you know, shit. My bad.
We were sitting at the table at the Christmas party, and they were showing like the highlight reels and stuff. And we saw the clip of that fire, and Danny being caught on fire, and he leans over to us and he goes, "Yeah, that person on fire was me." I was like, "Oh!" He's like, "Yeah, I've got a video of it on my phone.
Dude,
I'll send it."
Danny's funny. I said something at that party. He walks over towards me. I'd already started getting drunk, and I was like, I said, "Danny, you gonna get turned up with me or what?" He said, "I don't do that shit."
Danny is definition of salt of the earth. I love that dude.
Dude, we were sitting there
in work he did.
We were sitting there in Litchfield on Saturday, and we were watching. You know, we were putting the hay bales underneath the ring for the bunkhouse brawl. And he gets a phone call, and he answers the phone exactly how you think he would. He goes, "Hello," and he's walking, and he goes, and me and Caleb are standing there. And he goes, "Hello," and then we don't hear anything, and he walks past. He goes, "Piece of crap phone, ain't worth a dang." And he walks by, and he's like looking at his phone, and then I never heard another word out of him until we're sitting at the table, and I just looked over at him, and he still got his phone sitting there, and I'm like, you know, Danny looks like the type of guy that if he really wanted to, he'd just chuck the phone at somebody and just go about his business.
Yeah, sat there quietly stew looking at it. You can tell his business on his phone.
So you were talking about you and Ray, and Alexander does not ever stop putting you over. Saturday night, he put you over so much.
I have an exact quote in my phone that he said before he asked you this question. He says, "My career would be nothing without him. I think he's the most talented person to ever step into a WWE ring and could have done it anywhere at any time for any company." And then he said, "Ask him about setting the floor on fire." But that's not the first time I've heard him say it.
I was like, Alexander Knight's being so nice and stuff. And then, he's got to put that little dig in there. That's what
I mean, and it's not the first time we've heard him say this. That same night that he's about to, that he told the story that Leon's about to ask you about, like he said right then and there, he was like, "We only have like a handful of guys, I think, come through here, and that may be here now, like a good handful that could go anywhere in any era." Any point in professional wrestling and get over. And he was like, and some of those guys are in here, but it always comes back to you every single time. I mean, he cannot, I mean, you couldn't pay him to get him to stop putting you over. So he tells us a story, and Leon was very shocked by it because we only know Chris and Ray in their slimmed down versions. Mm-hmm. So when we start to hear stories about, you know, them, all of them really wrestling in their much heavier days, then we get this. I'll go ahead and let you have it.
So first I'm going to start it off with, you know, they've got some great talent on the roster now. MK Swift, Dash, you know, all these guys that can fly. And Thomas was sitting there and he was telling us, he was like, Jordan would put any of them to shame. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, and he's not he's a pretty big dude, but like he would put him to shame. Well, another thing that he told us is that out of anybody that he's ever seen in any business, that you by far were the most physically strong person ever.
We talked about the difference between muscles and being like just a
brute power.
Just a country boy who knows how to throw some shit.
So he told us that Ray did like a cross body off the top, and you caught him and never budged.
This is Ray at like almost 400 pounds,
and hit him with a follow-away slam. How did that happen?
I'm a big old boy, and I get winded throwing my 12-year-old around. He's like 100 pounds.
But
so I'm
he
impressed.
said that you caught him, didn't even budge, and hit him with that follow-away.
Well, for starters, again, Alexander Knight, Thomas, you know, he's one of those guys you cannot say enough good shit about him, man. He's never been at the top. He's always been better than he realized realized he was, but he always thought he was. He never knew how good he was.
Right.
You know, which I think you get that working. If you don't realize how good you are, the sky's the limit. But the second you realize how good you are, and that's when you can go to another atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's one of those guys that it took him a little bit to get, I think, a little bit of confidence with that. And good Lord, the shit he's been able to do in the matches that have, you know, he's the one guy that you can work that it's not work. You know? He just makes it so easy for everybody. But, no, what was the question? I'm sorry, I was too busy being flattered by
Ray, when Ray was heavier, he came off the top for like a crossbody, and you caught him. And you not being the biggest guy, so...
So Ray was actually a lot bigger back then, and I mean, but always, you know, could outwork everybody. But nonetheless, he was probably, he was over 400 pounds. Ain't no way he wasn't. But he came off the second rope for a crossbody, and he did hit me square like he was supposed to. But the problem was he dropped down, and I ended up I was still holding him like a crossbody, but he was down by my knees and my arms were extended. So I kind of curled him up like you know, I was doing two dumbbells at the same time. I curled his body up like that, readjusted, got him in position, and then did the fall-away slam.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
so, and in the moment, it had to be adrenaline, because in the moment, I was able to stop and be as calm as can be, and I was like, holy shit. Like that. It was one of the only times I impressed myself. But I ain't never had a six-pack. You know, I ain't never necessarily looked like the strongest guy, but like I don't know, I do a lot of yoga.
There's another story that he told us about, you know, just how physically strong that you were, like when you were wrestling. And he told a story of like he was on the top and he slipped and you like pulled him back up one-handed, like all the way back up, and then proceeded to, I don't know, slam him off the top or something. Do you remember?
Yeah, I know which movie he's talking about. But yeah, I remember him falling, because I remember him panicking for a half a second. It was almost like don't worry, youngling, I got you. And I don't know, it's just one of those things, especially when I'm in I was in Jordan roadkill Whittaker mode, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, once I go through the curtain, it's like, that's when it happens. Like, you kick into that extra thing, it's like, I don't know, you're strong because, you know, the people are supposed to believe you're strong. So that gives you strength when you need it. So, I don't know.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Tapping into something.
Yeah, it's just like that. I mean, you don't get that often in wrestling. You either get the guy who's really strong, you get the guy who can fly, you get the guy who knows the moves, and you seem to have all of them in one go. But unfortunately, your career gets cut short due to injury. Actually, the first thing I watched today was a tribute video the WWE had put together that had you giving your retirement speech. But the thing that, because we, like I said, we're newer fans to the WWE. We started going in July of this year, the Independence Day show in Livermore. And by that point, I had only been to one other show. I went to the Logan Legit tribute show with a friend of mine, him trying to get me out of the house. And he was like, dude, you should come check this out. I just started doing this with my brother. He used to be my co-host. And like, he was like, man, come on, you're trying to get an in. Like, this is the perfect, like, go see who you want to interview and who you want to talk to. Like, go see him. And I go out to that show, and I was huge into it. Then I start going through a divorce. I move away. I'm like, oh, well, WWA's out of my reach, because I don't know that they're in Litchfield. I think it's, you know, Evansville, Owensboro. That's what I'm used to. So we start going again after that. So we were not exactly like, we're not hip to everything. A lot of the stuff that we hear now is first time we've heard it. So if you wouldn't mind to just go into what went into the decision to say, hey, my body like can't do this anymore.
Well, the thing with the hysteria shows and stuff, you can pretty much look back at and know the exact moments, really. Like, yeah, I'd always like done the more risky things. And I put my body on the line a little bit more than I should have, especially early on in my career and stuff. But it was always, you know, you got to keep people talking, and you got to keep doing up in the ante and stuff like that. And, you know, it became expected. And I probably you said something about a bump card earlier and stuff. I gave quite a few ones up pretty early for no reason. So, but just after a while they started catching up, and then I tore my PCL in my right knee during an Ultimate X match where me and Ray were. It kind of was unfortunate because me and Ray had wrestled outside of the WWA as a tag team called The Difference, and finally we were going to get to bring that to the WWA, and we were both really excited about it and stuff. And unfortunately it happened the way it did, where I got hurt during the Ultimate X match and ended up having to wrestle that whole match without an MCL or a PCL, excuse me. So that sucked. And then that kind of took me off wrestling for about 6 months or so. And then once I came back, it just unfortunately my body wasn't what it was. And there was a performance I had with a guy named Superior Tony Evans. He's wrestled for OVW now. He's a hell of a guy. And me and
Hometown
him
boy.
We're supposed to have a really good match. He's another one that I've always had great chemistry with. Matter of fact, if you want, there's a WWA title match that me and him had. I think it was at a curtain call. That was one of my favorite matches ever. But either way, this particular match, it was right after I got hurt, and I first came back, and I could just tell like I've lost a step. And then I got hurt again in that match. It was small. And I ended up not being able to give the performance that I wanted to give for Tony, so that's about the time when I was like, okay, I got to start coming to the realization that things just ain't what they used to be. The body can't handle it the way it did, so it's time to start winding this down, just for the sake of my daughter and stuff. So
yeah, I mean,
I want to be able to keep going.
That was something I had thought about back in those days, because I had that style where I was like, yeah, I'm going to do like crazy shit because I didn't have a body. I didn't have a look. I could talk and I can take a beating. And then I just my son, and I was like, but I'm kind of on the end of the spectrum of like, I wish I would have kept it going that long, because it was so fun. It's just such a fun thing. It's really weird how the brain works when we love something that we'll pretty much put up with what we got to put up with.
I'm gonna get slammed for fun.
Yeah,
because I enjoy that.
I'm gonna go get beat up. Like I used to say on the podcast, like before when the forum used to be a little bit more segment. Like I would okay, well we got this segment. We're gonna play a silly, stupid game, or I'm gonna say this stupid thing and go over it. Now we do it a little bit, but not as much. But one of the things I used to always go over was that wrestling is accepted insanity. Like people just kind of like, yeah, this is crazy, but it's okay. Like it's insane.
You're signing up for a car crash, basically.
Yeah. And also going into matches, like a lot of my backyard stuff that we did, it's so silly to sit and remember some of that and think back of like me and my brother sitting there in our mom's kitchen and at the kitchen table while she's at work being like, okay, so we're definitely going to use the screwdriver somehow. That's how we're getting color. Like the screwdriver's coming into place somehow. Oh, all I can find is a Phillips head, but dig it harder. And we would just do that. Like we didn't know that you inside baseball that you do prepare tables sometimes, and we didn't know that. We didn't ever pay attention to watching Raw that when someone went through a table, it didn't have the metal bracket around the table. So like quite a few times getting cut up by those, or the table just not breaking.
Yeah, see, a big thing for me also, especially like from the backyard days, like WWE and all of these, WCW, even they have a budget, when it comes to buying their weapons and stuff.
Right.
The idea of getting one of those tables and that is all, gimmicked up or whatever, they're up to like $100 and stuff like that. It's crazy for how much a wooden table is. That's why you start improvising with like doors and stuff like that to save a little bit of money and whatnot.
It's funny because we talk about budgeting all the time, and our favorite example of how WWE ruins their budget is Cody Rhodes, because every time he goes out there and they do the whoa on his song, they spend $50,000 on pyro. Well, we got to cut down next show. Cody Rhodes going to the. Dude, when he went out there twice in one night and did his entrance, no wonder I thought they almost canceled the next show.
We were there for that, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we were there for that.
I was like, oh my gosh,
he
they're
leans
going
over,
bankrupt.
the fans are screaming. He leans over, he goes, "There's 100,000 gone." And I was like, dude, we can't even. I was like, we can't even afford a studio space, and these guys are popping 50,000.
It's so funny because, and that's what I love about the WWA is the production value of what you pay.
Yeah, no,
it's fantastic.
I've seen what's considered a quote unquote upper echelon indie, an indie that you're gonna see like established stars working at. We'll put it that way. And like I'm looking at their shows and watching some people's stuff that I follow there, and like the barricades are ropes tied around traffic cones, and the ring, like none of the turnbuckle pads match.
The WWA looks like a legitimate wrestling company.
It does.
It doesn't look like, we belong in, the county fairs and stuff like that, which back in the Carney days and whatnot, it looks like we belong to be superstars, and the production value is up there, and it's,
And
again, you don't get the garbage, buildings. Like I've wrestled in garages. I've wrestled in, an old baseball field that was nothing but mud. So there's some pretty garbage ones out there. So it's a real treat whenever you get to look at something that started in a backyard with some trampolines and stuff, and then you can look at it now, and like I can look at it now and be like, to just know the work that went in and see what it's become. It's like looking at a child being raised.
I mean, I could definitely see that too. Like, and with the production of that place, like, it's not only just like the production; it's the thought into the production, like why he wants it done, like, and just the fact that like people, we actually took somebody to go there that doesn't really know wrestling, like they know a little bit of stuff. We just thought it'd be nice for her and her son to get out of the house and go and do something and give the kids something to do that wasn't sitting on a video game all day. We take them in there. It was our first show working. I'm at the door with Terry stamping hands, and she releases me to walk around freely and to get the fans hyped up. And I see him at the table, at the concessions table, and I was like, well, are you guys having fun? What do you think? And she's like, it's not what I expected. And then I was like, oh no, she's disappointed. And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, when you told us that we were coming to like a wrestling show and it wasn't WWE or something that's on television, it's like a lower level. She's like, I fully expected like what I see on YouTube or like what I'll see on social media with thumbtacks and light bulbs and the floors are made of dirt and it's outside and it smells like cow shit because it's off somebody's farm. She was like,
there's this guy named Ian Rodden out there.
Dude, you brought it up. I was just thinking about that.
Don't get me started. I told a story to Alexander that I actually got into a fist fight over Ian Rotten because I don't like him. And I fought somebody
I'm working for the motherfucker.
I got into a fist fight with someone who worked for him like extensively, almost exclusively worked for Ian Rotten, and I just mentioned that Ian. I'll get to that in a minute, but she just expected like that. She expected IWA Mid-South. She expected, CZW in the early days. Like she expected what Jim Cornette would call outlaw mud show bullshit, and she was pleasantly surprised with how professional it is, which does bring me to that. I got to tell you that story because it's just hilarious. I got into a fight with one of the managers just talking about that Ian Rotten. I wasn't working there. I did nothing like that. This was just like we were all together. I knew this guy my whole life pretty much. And I just mentioned that like Ian walks around with the confidence of a motherfucker who's like a Hall of Famer. And because and we had gotten like that talking about Bobby Wilson because Bobby Wilson used to yell at us all the time and talk about like I sold out so and I sold out this, and I'm sitting there in my head and I'm like, bitch, you stared at the lights. No one paid to see you. Yeah. They paid to see Fargo beat your ass. They paid to see Lawler pile driving, and they fucking hated Lawler, and they would rather have saw you lose than Lawler lose. They cheered when Lawler announced his manager had died in a car accident, and they still wanted to see you you lose. So we were just getting at that. I was like, Ian Rotten's claim to fame is he walked out with another guy who kind of looked like him and swung chairs haphazardly at people. And then he's like back and forth. Ian Rotten's a fucking legend of this community. You put some respect on his name. And I was like, fuck Ian Rotten. Fuck all 3 letters of the company he owns. And fuck everyone who worked for him. And then, yeah, fist fighting. Like, I get passionate about this shit. Like, I get passionate about wrestling. I hate when people do it wrong. Like, I watch AEW because I have to. I'm a wrestling podcaster. I'm a wrestling journalist. I need to be aware of what's going on. And I'm watching people argue on the internet of, like, why didn't this happen? This guy should have done that. Well, earlier in that show, that guy went through 2 flaming tables. Somebody's like, what was he supposed to do? And my response was, not go through 2 fucking flaming tables. Like, he could have not done that. it's
yeah, and that would have made it. You know, the thing is, it makes it to where none of it matters. And here's the thing. I will take everything I learned at that stage of my career doing the IWA Mid-South stuff. Because, I mean, here's the thing. Ian Rotten probably doesn't even remember who I am. But I wrestled several shows for him, me and Ray, and, Stonewall, and, Alexander Knight was at a couple of, one of them, I think. Yeah, I think he just did one. But yeah, and the thing is, I knew how to avoid the BS politicking and stuff that goes along with shit. And the thing is, working for a shitty promoter makes you appreciate the good promoters, So I can't even really be mad at that. But Ian Rotten, it was the next level, just piece of garbage looking back on it now. And just, yeah, I don't know. There's a whole nother several stories I could tell you about that, but we probably ain't got time for all of them now at this point. But
Oh no, we're coming back for part 2 because we haven't scratched the surface, and we're about reaching that time here pretty soon. Anyway, I think we got like 1 or 2 more bullet points. But yeah, we're definitely gonna have to come back for part 2 because what I call this like the podcast equivalent to a night off. Like in wrestling, for people who are listening don't understand, a night off is usually referred to when you wrestle somebody who's very easy to work with. You're not going to get hurt too much. You're going to go out there. You're both going to get your shit in, and you're going to go and you're going to burn the fucking house down. You had a night off. That's what this has been. So we definitely got to come back to it again.
Yeah, and it's all like I've only met you guys the one time at the Christmas party, but like it's all come out very natural to me and stuff, man. You guys are real easy to talk to. You know what you're doing.
That's what we're here for.
We appreciate it. That's what I told Thomas because he asks me all the time. Like he's curious about this, genuinely curious about how this is done and how we make it work and things like that. And he's like, you just seem like you know everybody you're talking to before you talk to them. And in a way I do, because I do a lot of research. I pride myself in the fact that I care about this. So like I do the research. I've already essentially met you guys before we've done this, but I also look for an in. Like I have to figure out a commonality. Now we already have one commonality with everyone, and that's that we love professional wrestling. To what degree always differs guest to guest. So beside that, I always look for a thing, and I'm like, okay, I like this, they like this, we both are publicly into this thing. So it's like I'm talking to somebody I know anyway. I always like at that Christmas party, and everything we do, I stay to myself. I'm quiet. I don't like to talk to people. I'm scared of people is what it is. I'm really scared of people. I know I seem like extroverted on here, but I'm actually incredibly introverted.
And then I come in.
And then I have to have Leon with me. Like I got in trouble at the Christmas party for not mingling enough. And I was like, because Leon wasn't there yet. And I was like, I'm waiting on Leon to get here. My girlfriend was there, but she's just as quiet as I am. So I was like, I'm waiting on Leon to get here. It's like I'm working without the entire right side of my body because I'm left-handed. So like it's like I'm
right-handed.
It's like I'm working without the entire right side of my body, and I need the other half of me to come in so I can go be a person for a little while. So like
that's fair, but also here you're in your element too. It's your comfort zone. Like you can kind of relax and stuff. That's nice.
You would think, but I also get really sick to my stomach before every single episode. I pace.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've never
See, I didn't
totally
even
on
know
that.
that.
I puked before one episode.
Oh, wow.
I won't tell you which one, but I puked before an episode. You could probably guess, but I did puke before an episode because I was just.
I'm telling you, Santos makes me nervous too, man.
Santos is hilarious. That dude makes me laugh so fucking. I love that
Dude.
kid so much, and everybody gives him shit, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, every episode after we talked to him, I was like, why does everybody give him shit? He's kind of funny. And then we see him at Bowling Green, and we're wearing our merch because we made that because we're marks for ourselves. We made our own merch just to wear to the show, so people would see it and be like, we're gonna listen to their show, and it works.
It does work.
It works. So we're doing that, and he
saw us and he was like, you too.
yeah, he sees it. He goes, I know you. I was on your show, and you said something bad about me. I'm never doing that shit again. And then I'm sitting there, and I looked at Leon. And I said, what do you say fuck me for? Like I'm nice to it.
And then ever since then, Casey's like, boo that man.
Yeah, I boo him every time. And I saw him the other night, and everybody was picking on him, and I said, Santos. And he
Boo
looked
that
at me.
man.
I said, I love you. And then he looked at me like, what? Like I was growing another head. Like I
That's
guess he
weird.
expected me to be like, hey, Santos, fuck you. And I was like, I love you, dude. And he was like, okay. And he didn't know what to do.
So one thing, and you were talking about, us knowing what we're doing. So Casey does this show to get himself out there so people will care about him more than some of them actually do.
Yes.
And I use
I had bad parents. I need validation.
I use this show not only to, try to inspire people, because that's what I feel like I'm good at doing, but I did not inspire that. But I also use it as teachable moments, learning moments for me, especially starting my career now. Things that maybe I could learn, things that maybe I have in common with somebody, or just maybe things that I've questioned, and they just come off the top of their head. And another big thing that me and Casey both are intrigued by is finishes. We love good finishers.
Yeah.
And they always tell you at every other wrestling school, pick a finisher that you can do to everybody. So my question to you is, with you starting so young, what was your choice of a finish during the trampoline days versus towards the end of your career, and why did you choose those?
Alright, well, starting off, back in the trampoline days, I did the 5-star frog splash. And that carried it over into the early days of the wrestling ring and stuff. Problem was, again, I was young, and we had the wrestling ring and stuff, but I was also broke, and we were kind of, didn't really know what we were doing. I didn't buy knee pads for the first couple of years. Yes, so the first couple of years of actually wrestling in a wrestling ring, I didn't have knee pads, and that was even doing bookings at other shows and stuff. So I was also landing on my knees with the frog splash every one of those times, and it just eventually got to where that was hurting me too much. So I was like, okay, I can still keep the frog splash in my repertoire, but one, I got to get knee pads, and two, I got to take it easy, otherwise I'm not going to have knees.
Right.
By the time I'm at the end of my career. And I ended up, whenever I wanted to drop that, I've had pretty much the same finish since then. I used the spear pretty much most of my entire career after that, which it got over real good. I had the long hair, and I was definitely influenced by guys like Edge and Rhino. I really like their styles, because Rhino, had the strength and stuff, but he made his shit look impactful and aggressive and stuff. And Edge had long blonde hair. I had long blonde hair. Hey, it just seemed kind of make sense. And I had the size that I felt like the spear, again, you could do it to everybody. You don't have to pick them up, So there's no need to ever really change after that. So
and that
it was a hell of a lot easier on my body too.
Right.
So.
And the spear is a move that I feel like anybody of any size could do. You've got like Big Show's spear, but then you've also got like Ricky Saint's spear that he does where he jumps with it and it looks fabulous.
Big Show spear looks like dog shit though.
Yes, but he still does one.
It looks like the Big Show. It's like
right.
everybody can like throw
one, but not everybody can make it look good. I tell you right
True.
now, my spears were never any good. They always hurt because I played football. That's what I know. Like, I was like, okay, I know how to hit you. Like, I know I can do that. I can hit you hard, and that's what I would do. So see, that's what I'm saying. It takes the spear is a move that I feel like it takes like.
Just don't Jey Uso them and just
don't
run up, give them a hug, and then let them fall.
You don't have to kill them, but you also you don't have to Goldberg them.
You have to commit. You have to commit to it.
And that's what I like about Hawkins. I feel like Hawkins has a pretty good spear.
You're
His
just
spear's
saying
pretty
that
solid.
so he doesn't bump you so hard in
That's
class.
not true. It's not true.
See, ever since he started his first class, like he used to kiss Munchie Gonzalez's ass like crazy, and now he's like
Munchie's my boy.
He's sliding Hawkins's cheeks in there now too, because Hawkins bumps him harder than Munchie does.
Well, I love both those guys, though, and I love how Tyler's called Little Jordan from time to time because
he does remind me a lot.
He started. I left, back in the day. I had the long blonde hair. Now he's got the long blonde hair. And I did the spear. He's doing the spear. So, my mom used to be a big fan that went there, and she'd always call him Timu Jordan and stuff.
Timu Jordan, yes sir. I'm gonna call him that at the next training.
Please, I was gonna say, dude, you got no hair on your
There's
balls.
Timu Jordan right there.
You got no hair on your peaches if you don't call him Timu Jordan at the next practice. Because if you don't, I'm gonna. Because what the fuck's he gonna do to me? You
Bum.
Y'all make sure you let me know how he reacts to it. Too.
Bet.
Oh no, 100%. We're gonna do that. Which actually, I think we're pretty much at the wrap point. I do want to end it though, just by giving you an opportunity to let everybody know. Like, I know you're not wrestling so much anymore, but I'm sure people would love to see like some of your matches and things like that. If you just let everybody know like the best place they can find your stuff, maybe some companies we don't know about, just kind of plug how they can watch you out there, and then we'll get you out of here, bud.
Well, see, unfortunately for me, again, I'm not very much on the social media network anymore and stuff. Kind of missed all that, and just being old, doing fat farmer things out here on a piece of land here. Anything on the WWA is now page, the WWA YouTube, which is everything that they have is WWA is now. And I think it's that on Instagram and YouTube and MySpace, or not MySpace, but Facebook and all those fancy ones.
Going way back.
You can always go to their archives. I'm, pretty much one of the only WWA alums that are from the backyard that isn't a part of it no more, but still feels like they're a part of it. Because I can turn up at any time, and I get, I'm semi-retired. I can come back anytime. I just can't do it at the same level full-time no more and stuff. Just the old body won't let me, so... But the WWA is now YouTube channel. Go back on some of those old Hysterias. You'll find a lot of really great matches. Me and Alexander Knight had a huge feud for a long time that I think he even put over that it was the first match of the year award winner that didn't feature one of the Waddell brothers. So that one was really special because, everybody, it was always Chris Ray in some form or another. So me and Alexander Knight pulling that off, that's great. And something we were both really proud of. Me and Ray had a really good one speaking of mine, Ray, he had a no-show in event, and me and Ray just got thrown together and had one of my favorite matches. Crap, sorry guys, I'm rambling a little bit.
You're good.
See, that's the thing. I'm here, I'm reminiscing. I ain't really just talked about just wrestling in a long
He
time.
said I'm getting the itch.
But actually, I'm going to go back and watch that Josiah match, that Josiah Cask match. Anybody that's listening to this, try to go watch back that one. So.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's super accessible. Like, I did not have to look long to find. I think it was one of the first 5 videos that popped up. But my algorithm is also, my 12-year-old has started watching Hysteria
From day one.
from the beginning, and he started on episode 1, as you should with any show you want to binge, and he's already in 2024 with how far he has watched it. So my YouTube for you, or my algorithm and my previously watched videos is just Hysteria for 8 years. It is insane how long this kid has been put into it. But he so it's pretty easy for me. All I have to do is type W into my search bar, and immediately comes up World Wrestling Alliance, and it's the first thing.
And see, it's very much an honor for me because like all you got, if you go back and hit Hysteria and you watch any of those older ones, like and even up until like before I left, I was for a long time I was kind of one of the centerpieces, like they're like one of the mainstays and one of the guys that was almost always going to be in the main event and almost always give you a hell of a show if he was able to, and so I was very honored to get to do that, and anytime you do type in Hysteria, odds are you'll find me on there somewhere. So.
Oh, you definitely do. That when we told him we were doing this, because I kind of let him book who we get. Like, I don't go, who am I getting next, buddy? I just, like, ask him, hey, who has caught your eye recently? And then, like, sometimes it's guys that are there now. But, like, the other day, I was like, who's been catching your eye? And he's like, Jordan Whittaker does a lot of really good stuff that I like, and like he's like, I like this match and this match and this match, and I was like, okay. It's like my kid, he's physically disabled to an extent, but his brain is fully functional, so he gets like he focuses on like, okay, my body isn't going to be able to do this at a high level, but my brain can. So he watches matches through a different light. He watches them through the light of psychology, and it's not so much what and like it's not so much the what he's looking at, it's the why and the how. Like, why did we do this? Why is this the thing? And how did we pull that off? So like he started talking about you a lot and name dropping you a lot. So after Christmas, after we had talked, I went to go pick his little brother up because one of them lives with me and one of them lives with their mom. And then my 12-year-old's the one that lives with his mom. And I was like, hey man, I got an episode coming up here pretty soon, the next 2-3 weeks you're going to be super excited about. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I got Jordan Whittaker. And he goes, you did? And I was like, I did. And he was like, he's like from the beginning. And I was like, dude, I've interviewed like 4 people from the beginning. And he's like, yeah, but not like him. So like, he was like, no, this isn't the same. Like, this isn't the same at all. And like, because
that, my friend, is why you do it. So,
that's exactly it.
Reactions like that, man. I want to hear that.
And it's funny because you answered a question without knowing, because we don't have time for me to ask it, but you've already answered it. We are looking forward to the possibility of seeing you in the ring one time or another, hopefully, before the body gives out completely. So that's going to be super exciting. And maybe, just maybe, I'll get to sneak in there and get a good one on Jordan Whittaker and just say I was able to do that.
Yeah, this guy was waiting on his first match. He's not even 6 months into training. He's like, when's this going to happen?
I'm telling you, Clay Williams, boy, he got it, man. I'm telling you.
I think I got another spear in the chamber, bud. Just waiting for you, bud.
I bet. I will gladly take it.
And you know what? I am now that Leon's going to get his ass kicked, I can't find a more beautiful way to end this show other than just the prospect of Leon getting speared at his shoes. Everyone, we love you. We appreciate you. Time is finite. We only get so much of it. So when anyone devotes any of it to me, especially the last 75 minutes that everyone has devoted to this show, I am very appreciative. Let's keep doing this thing. Get through the week so we can watch wrestling. I live Saturday to Saturday, people. That's what we got to do. Let's just live wrestling to wrestling and put all that bullshit out, all the bullshit in the world. The world's a terrible place. Turn on Raw. Turn on SmackDown. Go to a WWE show.
Do not turn on AEW.
Don't turn on AEW because that's just going to frustrate
for a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to frustrate you. So just escape for a little bit, and let's keep doing what we love, and that is watching professional wrestling, supporting professional wrestling. You guys take it easy and be safe.
Thanks, Mom.
Fuck you.